The greatest biblical escape was started by 5 women. Let's get into Exodus. The Exodus is this iconic story where the people of God, the Israelites, are being oppressed by Egyptians. God uses 2 men, Moses and Aaron, mainly Moses, to tell the Pharaoh, you need to let the Israelites go. And there's many miracles and wonders and signs that God uses to show Pharaoh, you don't want to go against me in this fight. But Pharaoh refuses. And so God, through Moses, plans this epic escape plan where he parts the Red Sea and brings his children, the Israelites, out of slavery. But there wouldn't have been a Moses and Aaron or an Israelite nation to take out of slavery if it wasn't for 5 brave women. To recap, in Genesis, God had made a covenant with a man called Abraham and his son Isaac and his son Jacob, who got renamed to Israel. Israel became the fatherhead of the Israelites, i.e., every descendant from Jacob, from Israel, became the nation of the Israelites. And God had a plan for this specific family, this specific nation. 1, he wanted to multiply them and make them into a large, great nation. 2, he wanted to give them a specific promised land. And 3, he wanted to make them a blessing, a holy representative of God to all of mankind, to bring us back into relationship with God. That was God's plan. Now, by the end of Genesis, Israel's sons, i.e., the Israelite family, was living in Egypt because there was a famine everywhere else, and Egypt was the only place to get food. But Egypt was also where they were enslaved. Joseph, one of Israel's sons, was one of the more prominent slaves. He was basically a vice president, second only to Pharaoh. So at first, because of Joseph, the relationship between the Egyptians and the Israelites, although they were still slaves, wasn't one of cruelty and oppression. It was one where the Israelites could work and feed their families and live in peace. So why did they need to escape? When we pick up in Exodus, Exodus tells us that this nation really started to grow and multiply. So part of God's plan is coming to fruition. That's a good thing. Except that there was a new Pharaoh. This Pharaoh didn't know Joseph. Joseph had passed on years and years before. This new Pharaoh saw this growing population, particularly the growing population of men, and thought these men are going to form an army and rise up against me, rise up against Egypt. And so Pharaoh is determined to crush them. He creates really harsh slavery laws that oppress these people and make their lives unbearable. He also wants to get rid of the perceived threat, which is the population of men in the Israelites. And so he tells all the midwives, when a Hebrew baby boy is born, you need to kill it. Now here's where those 5 courageous women come into play. You see, it's Pharaoh's obsession with the visible threat of men that creates a blind spot and allows God to use courageous women to bypass Pharaoh's plans. The first 2 are Shiphrah and Puah. They're midwives. Their occupation is to help women deliver babies. But Pharaoh tells them, when it's a baby boy, you need to make sure you kill it.